Parker Rehm, and Parker's had a really good team to cover this year in Texas A&M, and a really good quarterback and Sawyer Robinson, who leads the NFL, who leads in college football in passing yards right now. We'll stick with the Texas A&M Aggies because they are now a top 5 team in the country, taking on a Mississippi State team last Saturday, Parker, that gave Tennessee all they wanted, and then they came to town there in College Station. But there was no look ahead. There was all execution and balance there. What did you make of the big win over a hot and confident team that came out of Starkville?
I think balance was the best way to put it, right? The offense played how they normally do, and then the defense has been just stellar these past 2 weeks, not allowing anything in the pass game, but the run game specifically, which is where most SEC teams dominate. And I think they've really honed in on that and just played complementary football, which is a cliche, but they've done exactly what Coach Elko has been asking them to do, and that's just to play off of each other, and you're seeing the results.
Yeah, we talked a lot about quarterbacks coming into this season from all teams, and we talked about it with Ole Miss, with Alabama, with Texas A&M, with several others. With Marcel Reed, that's been one thing, but the ground game has been something kind of completely special here for this football group. How has it been able to balance out this run and pass game and, like you said, add to that balance offensively?
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of teams have to game plan for with Marcel Reed, right? Yep. Because he can throw the ball, but primarily he can make his impact on the ground with his legs. But that's not just him. You have 3 different playmakers in Reuben Owens, Le'Veon Moss, Amari Daniels to really help him out in that ground game. And against Mississippi State, it was Reuben Owens. He had a career day for himself, really looking like he was back to his normal self. A lot of Aggie fans have been waiting to see what this former 5-star running back could do, but he's been dealing with injuries pretty much his entire Aggie career. And you saw it, 21 carries, 142 yards. I mean, just a really, really good day for him to, spark this run game. But then you have Le'Veon Moss, too, who is the kind of proven guy in the backfield that a lot of Aggie fans know is going to get it done every single Saturday.
Absolutely. Spinning it forward now, you have a Florida Gator team. And I got to be honest, I think if you're Mike Elko, you are so happy that Florida beat Texas, because now you can tell them, I can tell your team, hey, there's no overlooking this Florida football team. What do you make of this matchup here and the way that the team and Coach Elko will handle it?
I think he's both happy and not happy at the same time, right? Sure. I think that he's happy because they beat the in-state rival that very clearly no one loves in College Station. There's no love lost there. But also I think it gives some confidence for this Florida team that they aren't the season isn't lost yet. And I think that's what kind of breathes some new life into this matchup and is why we're seeing it as a later game to be able to maybe put that in the national spotlight of Florida entering Kyle Field, where Texas A&M last year entered the swamp and took down Florida in Marcel Reed's first start under center. I think that's something maybe Florida's looking to get their get back on, but we'll just see if Texas A&M can play the role of the incumbent, the 5th team in the country, and play the game.
One of the big things I think when it comes to any team that has marginal expectations and then they exceed those expectations is being able to still carry your identity even though every team wants to knock you off. Do you see that as a thread line for this football team? Because like you mentioned, with the balance and everything else, I think this is sustainable there in the long term. For people who might think that, 3 to 4 losses are just around the corner for this football team, I think what they've built is kind of sustainable here, no?
Yeah, and it is sustainable, I think, to think of this Texas A&M program as a 3, and that's the floor, right? A 3-loss team for Texas A&M, something like that, where that's not bad for most programs around the country, but I think their ceiling is so high, and they've built this. At least in the first few years under Elko, they built this sort of, I can't even tell what the word I'm looking for is, just the standard, I guess, that they're going to come out every season at the beginning of the season and show that they are a team to look out for in the SEC. Whether they can do that consistently in SEC play is ultimately what time will tell. And that's something that they've shown early on. That's what they did last year. We'll see if they can do it this year, except they have to finish SEC play.
Right.
And I think that's something that this Aggies team is not overlooking by any stretch.
It reminds me of a conversation that Patrick and I had even before the show, and we were talking about the Milwaukee Brewers. I'm a Cubs fan. We're playing the Brewers right now, and it's like,
yeah, I know. I'm from Milwaukee.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you are a Brewers fan, and maybe you'll be able to
light work these past 2 days.
Oh, okay. I was actually going to give you guys a compliment, and it makes it hard. But one of the things that we talked about was the fact that they are not super amazing at anything, but they have no holes, and that reminds me of what Texas A&M is. They're not super amazing at one single thing, but it just seems like this team just doesn't have any leaks, and that to me is the mark of a consistent program.
Yeah, and I will say the first 2 games, a lot of people thought that the leak might be on the defensive side
Correct.
again, and that's what happened last year. That's what the downfall of this Texas A&M team was last year, but seems like they've patched that leak, at least after that Notre Dame game, giving up that many points, that many yards. They've really, holding that Auburn team to just 10 points. And I think Hugh Freeze came out. I saw a quote that he came out with this week that it was his worst offensive week he's ever had as a coach when he played Texas A&M. I think that's just kind of exactly what we've seen these past 2 weeks, and what we saw last week as well against the Mississippi State team that had everything to gain from this game and just came out flat. And I think that was a big product of how the defense played.
Yeah, that graphic was a perfect example of just about how they've been able to turn that defense around. Coach Mike Elko has a defensive background. I know he's coached offense as well, but one of the big things he's been able to turn around that defense, and now he's talking about what they're working on in practice. Let's hear from the head coach.
Yeah, I think finish for sure. I think that's a big part of it. Our ability to run the ball, I think, helps. That makes it easy. Our ability then to create some separation in the one-on-one matchups that you get because you can run the ball. And then I just think, again, you emphasize things and you get some and you don't get some, but we do put such a tremendous emphasis in it. I don't think there's a lot of teams that go out on Monday and spend 10 minutes working third downs inside the 10-yard line. Like, I don't know that that's normal, and we do, and that's just because of the premium of those plays. We throw the touchdown to KC on a 3rd and goal. The difference between that touchdown and a 14-3 lead and that becoming a field goal drive and a 10-3 lead is so enormous in terms of how the game plays out. And so, we try to really focus on that area of the field, and it's been good to us so far this year.
Parker, we've seen, especially last weekend in the Vanderbilt-Alabama game, where the 2 turnovers in the red zone ultimately costed Vanderbilt the game. What have you seen from the Texas A&M offense in the red zone so far this year?
They've been, phenomenal. I think that's something that they've taken as a point of pride, as being able to convert those, because you look back to the Texas game, that Lone Star Showdown, they weren't able to convert in the red zone, and that's ultimately what cost them a shot at an SEC championship. So I think that stung and hung around through the offseason, and then finally they've been putting the pieces together. I think that also you have to think about has to do with the play calling, right? Colin Klein has been really good in certain situations of dialing up the right plays for Marcel Reed to have that kind of success. But it also helps to have the plethora of playmakers that he has on the outside just to make plays.
Absolutely. As we spin this forward, looking ahead to the next few weeks, it seems like Texas A&M is really well positioned to make a strong run here in the SEC. Obviously, the Arkansas game. So, and I'm not dismissing Arkansas. I'm really not. But they seem to me like, hey, if you need to get back, if you need to get your offense in check, that's the game. We'll see how they handle this upcoming week. But then 2 big ones against LSU and Missouri. How does this stack up? The coaches, you'll never get anything out of them out of like a 1-by-1, 1-0, game-by-game scenario. But what do the fans feel like as they go into this game? Because Mike Elko's almost had to convince the Aggie fans, hey, believe in us. And now it looks like the schedule's lining up to where this is looking like it could be a really solid season.
Yeah, I think the belief is there. The belief's always been there in Aggie land that this is a team that should be competing for SEC championships. And I think they will be competing for an SEC championship. It's just about not taking the foot off the gas pedal, right? You can't let up late in SEC play. But late in SEC play is where you get those big-time matchups with LSU and Mizzou, and I'm a Mizzou grad. I know how good they are. I watch them plenty. So I think that's not a team you can take lightly. A&M welcomed Mizzou in last year to Kyle Field and beat the brakes off of them. So I'm sure Mizzou doesn't feel too kindly about that. LSU, same thing. That same thing happened in primetime. There's a big target on A&M's back, which is the only thing that I would say to counter that point, that it may look like an easier road compared to other people in the country, but everybody's looking to knock off A&M because they think maybe this isn't a title contender, but A&M's constantly trying to prove that they are a title contender. So that's what makes every matchup just so great week in and week out.
One of the things I really like having you on is you're so well versed around the SEC. Your alma mater's got a huge win against Alabama this week. How do you forecast this game?
I don't know. I've been looking at it, and I just really Mizzou has so many weapons too. Like Ahmad Hardy is he's definitely one of the best running backs in the SEC, maybe one of the best running backs in the country. And just kind of flew under the radar leading up to this point, and then has really taken off. And then Bo Pribula, I mean, what a job he's done to step in and under center and take over after not winning the starting job. I think that he's taken over and shown why he should be the starter and why he should keep that job, I mean, for the rest of the season. So I think it's a prove-it game for Mizzou. They haven't had many of those signature wins. I mean, obviously, other than Ohio State in that Cotton Bowl a couple of years ago. But a regular season win against Alabama would go a long way. So I'm not going to make any score predictions. I don't want to jinx it as a Mizzou faithful. I think that would be wrong of me.
Well, Parker, you are awesome. And I don't know how many people in Next Star Nation can say that their alma mater and the team that they cover are both undefeated on the season with the huge games coming up this week.
I can't.
I can't either.
Yeah. It's pretty impressive. Common denominator.
This guy, exactly. 100%. Parker, thank you so much for your time here on Southeast Sports Plus.
Thanks, guys.